Hi guys, John from P&P Campers. Just going to do your handover video on your Autosleeper Executive. It's the NReg vehicle. And so we'll start under the bonnet. Over on the left hand side we've got your engine battery. So negative this side, positive on the other. Got your power steering fluid just here at the front. Brake fluid up there to attach to the servo, just there behind it. Coolant reservoir is this one just here up at the top. Washer fluid reservoir is this one over here on the very right hand side. Your engine oil gets topped up through this cap just here. And where's the dipstick? Over here, there you go. So your engine oil dipstick is this one over here. So I'll just pop that back. It has got a little sticker on here. It looks like it's actually worn off where it tells you where the cam belt's been changed, but you probably won't find out on the paperwork for that when it was done. It actually looks like one of our stickers, but I'm not entirely sure. But there you go. So it's a petrol engine. Obviously your spark cables, your HT leads are all here, all in a sort of nice little lined up position. Over here attached to the distributor. It's all pretty straightforward, to be honest. There's not much to know. So yeah, it's not a huge amount really. It's all pretty straightforward. Your petrol filler cap is this one just here on the passenger side, so you can get that open just like that. To open the actual little locker up, you just push on the left hand side here and it'll open up, so you can get to it like that nice and easily. There's not really much to show you inside the passenger door, to be honest. It's just basically just the winding window. That's about it really on that side. There's obviously more to show you on the driver's side. So you've got space in this gas locker here for 2 of these 6 kilo propane bottles if you wanted them. But for the minute we've just got the one. Looks like we've had to replace the hose at some point as well. So it's 2019 the actual date on the hose, but you know that gives you till 24 to replace that. So actually turning the bottles on is anti-clockwise around to the left, and turning it off is round to the right clockwise. I'm going to leave it on for a minute just so I can show you a few bits working inside the van. But that's basically that, nice and simple. Behind the door we've got these 2 vents just here. So these are your fridge vents. So basically if you had the fridge lit up on gas, you'd be able to feel warm air coming out through there. Basically because you've got this little kind of exhaust just inside here, which is basically just where the exhaust for the gas side of the fridge, sort of the flame goes here, exhaust comes out up here, so you can work out if it's definitely lit up or not by putting your hand over there and just double checking. You've got a manual step, so you literally lift up on that and push in towards you, and that'll go in nice and easily. Same on the way out obviously to do that. The bike rack you've probably seen, but the bike rack is inside the van, but you can basically just hook it on here if you want to. I think you guys might have asked for us to take it off, so that's why it's come off. So that's that, it's all there if you want it. So just show you the toilet cassette locker. So you've got a flush fluid reservoir just up here. So that's where your pink mixed fluid goes in. Okay, that lid back on. The actual toilet cassette itself just comes out nice and easily. Push down on this little yellow tab and then pull the actual cassette out all the way. You've got a bench seat toilet inside here, which I know because you've got the longer style cassette. So all you need to know really, it looks like a new cassette actually as well, or reasonably new at least. All you need to know is you've got this little flap just inside here which is lubricated, and when you empty the cassette out from here, all you need to know really is that when you do empty it out from here, you need to hold down on the little yellow button at the back. It's basically an air pressure release valve, and you'll find it much easier. Just as a little tip. You've got a little gauge just on the right hand side here, which tells you how much flush fluid is in the actual system. So you can see there, it's just at the minimum line, basically. Anywhere from sort of there up to where the sort of black mark is on it is pretty much perfect. And like I said, that's your pre-mixed pink fluid that needs to go in there. So I just pop this away. Well, actually, I'll leave it just like that for a minute. You've got your little exhaust vent well, I'm not sure off the top of my head which one does which, but these two vents just here are for your Propex heating system. And you've got this other pipe just here, which will be for your waste drain. So if you pull this little waste drain down, which is this one, you'll be able to drain your wastewater out from there. Your external hookup point is this one. So if you wanted to use anything 240 volt or, you know, plug sockets and things like that, you want to plug your hookup cable into there. You've got your freshwater inlet, which is this one, which has just got this cap, which just goes on nicely like that, and then in and around to the left to take it out. You can obviously lock this up with the circular key on your key fob. And then the last thing on the outside is your boiler, sort of external vent for your boiler. So I'll just quickly run through. It's a Carver Cascade, which is nice, simple. There's nothing technical about these. If you get any problems with it, seriously don't panic, because they're so easy to get parts for and so simple to sort of fix. But to be honest, I don't expect you to get any problems because they're quite reliable. But you know, it's not like the newer boilers where they can really take some work to fix them. But anyway, beside the point, you've got your drain just down here. So if you wanted to drain the boiler out, which you would do if it was going to get really cold and you weren't going to use the van, if you thought the water inside here might freeze, then you might want to drain this out. And the way to do that is just a really big flathead screwdriver in there and just turn it out really slowly. As soon as you start getting water coming out through there, you just need to, you've got this other little one at the top here, which you want to slowly turn, and it'll just come out a little bit. And again, it's the same sort of thing as a pressure release valve. And so once you've done that, you can then take this all the way out and it will just drain all the water out from inside your boiler. In the cab, you've got a 5-speed manual gearbox, hazard lights over here, heater controls obviously just there in the middle. You can work that kind of stuff out. It's, you know, it's all pretty straightforward. The only thing I want to point out to you, which I don't mean to sort of show you how to suck eggs or anything, but it's literally, you've got your two stalks just here. Sometimes people get a bit confused as to which one's actually the indicators. I mean, obviously you can work it out with this here, but the front one here is the indicators, and the one at the back is basically just your full beam. So if you wanted to flash the lights, you pull back on this back one. And if you want to use your indicators, it's the one on the front. Washers and wipers, obviously on the right hand side. Your bonnet release is this one just here. Turning your lights on is this dial just here, so side lights and then main beam. And you've also got your headlight dip sort of adjustment just there as well, if you needed to use that. I'll be honest with you, you have got these just here, but I don't think they actually do anything whatsoever, because you've got these winders as well. I can't get them to actually do anything, so I don't think they're actually wired up. I'm not sure whether or not they just came with this just in case you had the electric windows or not. I don't know, but it's not, they're not working, so you just need to use the winders to do those. The original sort of like chassis plate there, so you see there it's 3200, so 3.2 ton, which obviously means that you've got a fair amount of payload, and you've got your under the 3.5 ton bracket, so you can drive on any car license, which is good. Especially good for if you want to sort of sell it on again at some point. It saves a lot of hassle. Let me just pop this up a second. So your cooker, if I'll just show you how we did that, this part here just lays down basically, and you want to put it just in that gap there, and then it should stand up on its own like that. You've got a couple of bits that are sort of, you know, to be honest, I don't need to show you these kinds of things, but you've got an igniter down here, so that'll do all of your ignitions on the hobs. You basically just want to push down and turn which one you want to use, so it's got a little diagram telling you exactly which one does which. Underneath that, you've got an oven and grill. So okay, yeah, so you'll need a little igniter or a clicker of some description to get these to light up. But basically you've got the grill on the left hand side, which is just both sides of that little tube basically. In fact, let me just check. Yeah, no. I was just wondering if the ignition up there did this as well, but it doesn't. So yeah, you need an igniter of some description to light that up. Obviously you need to leave this door open if you're going to use the grill for any period of time. And the oven is very similar. You just need something to go in there and light that up with. But that's basically just that little bit at the back there. Thermocouple sits on the side of it, and so that's that. Nice and simple. Your grill pan is just in there if you want that. I'll just say like that. These are your gas isolators. So somebody's kindly written on there exactly which one does which. They have all got a little diagram on, apart from the third one down, so that's handy. But you can just go from here. So you see there, water heater, room heater. So basically what they are is, if you thought you had an issue with any of your individual appliances, you can isolate them from their gas point just there. So even if you have the gas bottle on, like I do at the moment, you can isolate an individual appliance if if you're worried about it, if you think there's a leak or something like that. Obviously there's not a leak at the moment because we've just done a habitation check and done a gas pressure test, so everything's fine as we speak. But if you were worried about something, you can isolate it from down there. So you've got your sink and drainer. So always, it's a typical Autosleeper thing to have all this kind of nice and set up there. You can have it exactly how you want it. So that's the kind of cooker, sink, that sort of section. You've got, obviously it's a mixer tap, so you've got hot and cold water from there, as well as all of your bathroom ones should be both as well. So if I just pull this down and check, yeah, so it's exactly the same tap. Same with the shower, hot and cold just up there. It's a little bit old school in the way that they sort of look, but it's still working now, and it probably will do for another good few more years. So they're just sort of put together quite well. Nothing technical about them, but they all work pretty well, so there's nothing wrong with that at all. Your window's on there. I'm not sure if you saw it, but the window had to be replaced because we had the I'm not sure if someone spoke to you about it, but there was a bit of a we tried to fit a window to another one, and I broke it myself by accident. So this is the nice new window we had, so that's back in there. So it's a brand new window in that one. So whilst we're in the bathroom, I'll just show you again. I don't need to show you how to use the sink and the shower. It's all pretty straightforward. You can set the shower up wherever you want it. You can put it up there if you want to. Light up there works exactly how it should. The toilet is the only thing I want to show you really. Push down on the button here to get the flush fluid to go around, and then you turn this to drain it out into the cassette. Closed, open. Now the only thing I want to say about that, like I say to about all of the vans, if you leave the cassette flap in the open position, two things will happen. You'll get a bad smell coming into the van, which obviously you don't want, but also you won't be able to take the cassette out from outside, because when that's in the open position, it kind of locks itself in. So you need to make sure that you have that in the closed position anytime that you're not using the toilet. But yeah, that's all good in there. To be honest, I didn't personally do the habitation check on this van, so I'm kind of like working it out as I go, so you have to bear with me if I take a minute to work things out. So you've got your fridge here. So it's a three-way fridge. It's an electronic ignition fridge, which, to be fair, when this van was built, would have been a really, really nice high-spec fridge. To be honest, these smaller old-school fridges like this are the ones that we prefer, to be fair, because the newer ones with like the some of the newer ones, they kind of, you can choose any way to use the fridge, so it kind of like chooses which way to do it automatically and things, and they start to get a little bit fiddly when things go wrong with those. But these ones are nice and simple. So all you have to do to actually light it up on gas, which I'll show you first, is push the button there. You can see the light, but you can also hear the igniter. All you need to do from there is keep your eye in that little hole down there, which is your sort of like peephole to see that it's lit up. And then when you're looking in there, push in and round to the left on this, and it will light up. Take a few goes. And there you go. I don't know if you can see it or not. There you go, you can just about see it there on the video. Lovely blue flame down the back there. And then just keep hold of this for a minute, and then you just want to let go of it. And when you let go of it, just keep your eye on that flame and just make sure that it stays on. There you go, let go of it now. So I don't know if you can see. I'll zoom in. There you go, there's a better view of it. So you can see the flame in there, lovely and blue. If that flame was really, really bright and sort of horrible orange colour, then you need the burner assembly needs cleaning out and putting back together. But that, again, that's pretty much the only thing that you get to go wrong with these, and that's not really a problem because that's just like maintenance. So yeah, if you see the flame in there now, look, lovely and blue. So after about sort of a couple of hours or so, this fridge will be nice and really, really cold. You've got a freezer section inside here, which you see someone's already had their ice cubes up there at some point. So that's a freezer section in there. The gas is the sort of most efficient and quickest way of getting the fridge cold. If you didn't want to use gas and you had an electric hookup plugged into the van, you can use your little green switch just here and push that to the down position. You can see on it you've got 1 and 0 or on and off. So you can literally just plug a hookup into the van and then press that button on there, and after, again, the same sort of time, a couple of hours, your fridge will be nice and cold inside. The other way to use the fridge, which if it's kind of a way to use the fridge, it's kind of not. The fridge already has to be cold if you want to do this. But basically the idea with these fridges, and the idea of any motorhome fridge really, or caravan, whatever, before you head off, before you're going to sort of go to wherever you're going, you need to make sure that the fridge is cold with all of your stuff inside it already cold. So the reason for that is, if you switch it over to this one here, which is your 12 volt element, all that does is it basically keeps the fridge cold at whatever temperature you get it to first. If you fill the fridge up with warm stuff and you don't pre-cool it using the gas or the electric, and you switch it over to the 12 volt, start the engine, drive to where you're going, and then you'll get there and you'll realise that everything inside the fridge is still hot because the 12 volt element isn't strong enough to get the fridge cold on its own. So you already have to make the fridge cold prior, before leaving. Like I said, either via the gas or the electric element switch. Sometimes I sort of recommend that if you're going to go away, say for example 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, I would put the fridge on either on gas or mains electric the night before with all your stuff in it, and then when you get out to the van to leave in the morning, it'll be freezing cold, and then all you need to do is just, so if I show you, if you had it lit up on gas for the night, all you'd need to do before you leave, switch it off like that, turn your igniter off, that's the gas off. Or if you had the electric hookup on, you just come out here, turn your electric hookup switch off, and then turn this switch, the red one here, on. Start your engine up, drive to where you're going. The red switch would have kept everything inside the fridge nice and cold. When you get to where you're going and you park up, you can switch your red switch off and then either choose your electric hookup if you've got it, or light it back up again on gas. There you go. So you don't even really need to look down that peephole if you don't want to. It's only really for double checking that it's, a nice flame. It's only really for us working on the fridges, to be fair. But if you wanted to double check this lit up through there, you can do. But otherwise, you can literally just turn your igniter on. If the igniter starts when you turn it on, like you saw it there, and then it goes off when you push it in and round to this gas flame symbol, that means that it's lit. Another thing I would point out to you is, don't turn your igniter switch off like that once you've got it lit up on gas. The reason for that is, if for whatever reason the flame blew out at the back of the van, this igniter, so if I show you, right, if the flame somehow blew out at the back of the van and you didn't turn this off, this is what would happen. The igniter starts, so you can hear it igniting, you can see the light flashing, and so basically if you had it lit up, the flame blew out, you would then be carrying on pumping gas through. If you had this switched off, you wouldn't have any idea that the flame's gone out, because you wouldn't just be staring down that hole all day, just keeping your eye on the flame. So if you leave this switch on, it tells you whether the flame's on or off. If it's flashing when you turn it on like that, the flame's not on. If it's not, it's lit up. All right, it's just a little tip, just so that you can sort of keep your eye on the fact that it's definitely lit. You can literally, if the flame goes out, that's what will happen. All right, so I don't see the point in. There's nothing wrong with leaving the switch on once you've switched the gas on. You can't leave it on all day just clicking away like that, obviously, because that'll just drive you nuts. And it'll also drain your battery out. So Yeah, but there you go. That's the fridge. Felt like that was a little bit long-winded actually, but there you go. So you've got your main Zig control unit up here. Really nice, simple, standard ways of running the vans. All of these old Autosleepers, well, it's not really that old to be honest, but all of these Autosleepers use the Zig units, whether it be this one or the much smaller ones. It's there you go. Right, so on the right hand side here, you see there I've just taken this little cover off. You've got all of your 6 fuses. So on the back of here, I don't know. Oh, there you go. So they're all numbered on there, but if you look at the manual, it'll tell you what they do. But basically, they're just all behind there. So if you turned your control panel on one day by turning it on this button here, so you need to turn this on. If you turn that on and none of the lights are working, or the pump wasn't working, or something like that, you can have pop this little cover off and just check that all the little glass fuses, the blade fuses in here, are all okay. It's pretty common, to be honest. I mean, they're only fuses. If something was to go wrong and randomly have a little power surge, they do pop. So it might be handy just to keep a little set of those on you, just for if you're away. And if you do look in there and find that one of them's broken, it is literally just a case of popping it out from one side and popping the new one in. It's not it's not rocket science. So it might be an idea just to keep a little pack of those. Some people on the newer vans, when they've got the sort of the blade fuses, the sort of plastic coated ones, 9 times out of 10, if you go into a customer's cab, they'll have a little pot of fuses on there anyway. So it's not because it's an old van or anything, it's just that fuses do blow, and that's the sort of the idea of them. So keep a little packet of those, it's always handy. So that's your fuses. So like I said, to actually turn the main control panel on, you just turn this switch to where it is now. That'll give you access to using anything 12 volt in the van, basically. Once you've done that, if you want to use your pump, you can turn the pump on using that button there, and then you have your water coming out through your taps. The thing I want to show you quickly now, just whilst we're on that sort of topic, once you've turned your pump on, the first thing you want to do, if you want to start using your boiler and heating your water up and things like that, the absolute first thing you want to do is just turn your pump on, come over to here, and just pull the hot tap. Wait for that to sort of, get to its proper pressure, and you see there, it'll cough a little bit, and that's it. All right, so now that it's coming out nice and sort of easily and smoothly like that, that's proven to me that the boiler is full of water. So if I turned the hot tap on now and the boiler was empty, nothing would come through this tap, absolutely nothing at all. The reason for that is that the boiler is basically first in line for the hot side of the system. So if you pour the hot water through, there's nothing in the boiler has to be filled up first before any water will come out through here. So it's always really, really handy to do that first, just to make sure that your boiler is full before you start trying to heat it up. Because if you try and light the boiler up when it's completely empty, basically you'll start to sort of burn things out. It'll get too hot. It's just like going home and popping your kettle on with no water inside it. It will just burn, basically. So it's really important that you do that first. Just turn your pump switch on and just make sure that you've got water in the boiler. So that's that. Nice and simple. Okay, so we've done the fridge, we've done the cooker, we've done the tap and things like that over there. So yeah, basically if you want to come in here and start using the van, use your water, lights, things like that, power on, and then just pop these two on here. All right. The only other things I need to show you on the control panel is you've got a little 12 volt socket outlet just there, if you wanted to use one of those. Your water level sensor is this one on the left hand side. So you see there, I push it in and you've got about 3/4 of a tank of water, or fresh water. And the other thing that will happen when you press this button is that you'll see one of these two will light up. If the leisure battery has got good charge in it, you'll get a green light. If it's got bad charge, if it's sort of running low, you get a little red light. I will say as well, just on that topic, these lights here are a little bit harsh, really. If you start going to sort of, I mean, obviously it's good to know that your battery is a little bit low. If you press that button and it showed up red, it might be an idea to put a hookup cable into the van or start it up for a little bit or something just to charge up both batteries. But they can be a little bit harsh where they kick in on the red. It's obviously a little bit better if you can have one which tells you the exact voltage, but you know, they are a little bit harsh as to where they actually kick in with the red symbol. But like I said to you, if it is showing up red, then, you know, you do want to put a hookup into it for a little while, allow it to charge up for a little while. And, you know, so if you don't do that every now and again, if you don't start the engine up every now and again, if you don't put a hookup in every once in a while, your leisure battery will die. It's just how batteries are, unfortunately, even if you don't use it. So, but that's that. That's your control panel. So in the wardrobe, we've got a few bits, a lot of nice extras inside here as well, actually. So you've got a solar panel up on the roof. This is your little solar controller. So basically, it's all nice and simple. All you need to know, really, you don't have to touch anything on this. I'll just double check as well, actually. So it's a... let me just double check. So... oh no, it's not, sorry. I was thinking it was a duo charger. Right, so you've got a solar panel just here. So that's basically wired up, 2 wires down from the actual panel and 2 wires going to your leisure battery. So anytime that you've got a green light up here, it does tell you on here, but anytime you've got a green light up here, it tells you that you've got a good charge in your battery. So that's another way that you can double check if you want to. If you wanted to double check your leisure battery voltage, just have a little look in here and it will tell you if it's good on there. You've also got this switch just up here, which I'm pretty certain will be your electric water heater. It's the same water heater that I showed you on the outside, the same boiler, but it's just using the electric way there instead. And the other thing to show you in here is that you've got your trip switches. So if you plugged a hookup into the van and nothing was working, it'll be an idea to check these trip switches just to make sure they're all in their upright position. There is quite a lot of nice extras inside here, to be fair, and you know, you've probably seen them already, so we'll leave them in. But yeah, it's all there if you want it. We just, you know, it's not really stuff that we need, so we just sort of leave it in there usually. Right, so the last couple of bits, obviously, as you probably know, the van would have been made with a little space heater just here. But at some point, a previous owner has replaced it with Propex, so that's blown air, gas blown air heating, basically. So it's all pretty simple. You literally just choose your temperature down here and then turn it on or off from there. Where I've put it just there against this little flame symbol is where it will actually light up on gas and pump out hot air. If you put it just there to the one below it, it will basically just blow around air, essentially. So if you wanted just a little bit of cool air pumping around the van, you can leave it there. Otherwise, all the way down to the bottom for the heating. And basically, it will just light up on gas and then it will just pump around some warm air. So yeah, it's all nice and simple. That's your nice new Propex heating. I'll switch that off. And the last bit is your gas boiler. So you literally, all you have to do is push this button. It will light up. And then you have hot water. It really is as simple as that. I'm not sort of making that up. It's just that easy. After about half an hour or so, you'll have hot water there coming out through your taps. Switch it off. Just like that. Pretty much every single light in this van has got like its own switch to sort of like go around and make it your own. If you don't want certain lights on, just leave them off. You know, you've got plenty. I mean, there's so many lights in here, I must admit. They've not been added aftermarket or anything. It's just been made with loads of lights. You know, you've got one up there. One of them will probably be 240 volt, if I am not mistaken, unless it's been replaced for a normal 12 volt one over the years. See, sometimes they'll have one of these lights here in the middle is usually a 240 volt light, but they've obviously replaced it for a 12 volt one over the years. Oh yeah, there you go. See where it was probably. Anyway, right, so you've got a load of storage over the top of the cab. They've got little hooks that hold that cupboard open. But yeah, again, more extras up there. Right, so I think I've shown you everything I can. If you think there's anything I've missed out or anything you want covering again, then just let us know. But otherwise, I look forward to seeing you soon to collect your van. Thanks very much.